The stars glimmered like shards of glass in the dark canvas of space as Captain Liam guided his small exploration vessel through the quiet reaches of the Sarin expanse. For months, he had been assigned to survey uncharted planets at the fringes of human-influenced space, a task many considered monotonous. Yet Liam welcomed the solitude. Out here, amid the silence and distant stellar fires, he felt free. Free from the endless bureaucracies, free from the constant debates over politics and profit. Out here, it was just him and the vast unknown. He had received reports of an unusual energy signature on one of the outermost planets, a gentle but persistent pulse that suggested life, but not the kind his team had catalogued before. It was delicate, almost musical, and unlike the mechanical echoes of mining stations or the erratic hums of rogue satellites. Against the counsel of his superiors, Liam had decided to investigate personally. The landing was smoother than expected. The planet's atmosphere, a pale amber hue, shimmered with a warmth that was almost inviting. Liam's boots touched the soil, soft but firm, and the air smelled faintly of wildflowers, scent he hadn't imagined could exist outside Earth. He glanced at the horizon and noticed a structure, elegant and alien, rising from a glade of luminous plants. Its curves were unlike anything human architecture had produced. They were natural and intricate, as if the building had grown from the planet itself, rather than been built upon it. As Liam approached, a figure appeared on the terrace, silhouetted against the glow of the twin moons. She was tall, her movements fluid, almost hypnotic. The attire she wore shimmered with an iridescent light, changing color as she turned toward him. He recognized her immediately from the reports, the princess of this alien species, a being of great intelligence and influence, whose name had traveled across space in whispers. Princess Lyra. Lyra's eyes, large and luminous, studied him silently. They were the kind of eyes that seemed to see through the layers of a person, straight into the depths of thought and intention. For a moment, Liam felt exposed, as though the veil of self-assurance he carried across the universe had been peeled away. Yet he did not falter. This was humanity's first face-to-face contact with her kind, and he knew the responsibility weighed on his shoulders. "I am Captain Liam," he began, bowing slightly, the gesture instinctive though foreign to her. "I have traveled far, hoping to understand your world. I mean no harm." Lyra tilted her head, considering him. The silence stretched, but there was no hostility in her posture, only curiosity. Then, to his surprise, she spoke not in the melodic tones he had expected, but in a voice that carried clarity and calm authority. "You are the first human to set foot here willingly. Why do you not fear the unknown?" Liam smiled faintly. "Fear is natural, but curiosity can be stronger. I wish to learn, to see, and perhaps to share a meal. If you would allow me?" The question hung in the air, and for a moment, Liam feared he had overstepped. The idea of casually inviting an alien princess to supper seemed absurd even as he said it aloud. Yet Lyra's reaction surprised him beyond measure. She laughed, a sound like chimes stirred by a gentle wind. "Supper?" she echoed, amusement glinting in her eyes. "You mean a human meal?" "Yes," Liam said, his tone steady despite the surrealism of the moment. "Something simple. I can prepare it, or we can partake in what is customary for you. I only ask for the chance to share it with you." Lyra's head tilted once more, and she studied him with an intensity that made his pulse quicken. Then, slowly, she nodded. "You are bold, human. Few would ask such a thing so openly. Come, then. Let us see if your courage matches your manners." Guided by Lyra, Liam entered the palace. Inside, the walls glimmered with patterns that seemed alive, shifting subtly like the surface of a liquid. He noticed that even the air vibrated faintly, resonating with a frequency that was soothing rather than unsettling. Liara led him to a chamber filled with low tables and cushions, the layout intimate and inviting. "I understand the ways of your people only partially," Liara said, her tone gentle. "Tell me, how do you eat this supper you speak of?" Liam chuckled. "It is simple. We cook our food over fire or heat. We season it. And then we sit together and share stories while we eat." He began unpacking the rations he had brought, a small assortment of vegetables, a loaf of bread, some dried fruit, and a container of water. Though it seemed humble in comparison to the grandeur of the palace, he sensed that simplicity might be exactly what bridged the gap between them. Liara watched closely, her luminous fingers brushing the edges of the food containers. Then, tentatively, she touched a piece of bread, turning it over in her hand as if examining its texture. "You find nourishment in this?" she asked, genuinely curious. "Yes," Liam replied. "And in sharing it with someone, it tastes better." She tilted her head, considering this notion. Then, to his delight, she sat across from him. Liam carefully tore a piece of bread and handed it to her. She accepted it, her expression thoughtful as she brought it close. The moment felt charged, not with tension, but with something deeper. Connection. As they ate, Liam began to speak of Earth, of its oceans, forests, and mountains, painting vivid pictures with words. He described the laughter of children, the quiet awe of standing atop a mountain at sunrise, and the feeling of walking through a city at night when the lights shimmered like stars fallen to the ground. Liara listened intently, asking questions that revealed a mind eager to understand. "And humans?" she asked. "Do you always seek the unknown with such openness?" Liam paused, considering his answer. "Not always. Some fear it, but some of us cannot ignore the call of curiosity. It drives us to explore, to understand, and sometimes to connect in ways that matter more than anything else." Lyra's gaze softened, and she reached out to place her hand near his, though not touching. "You speak of connection as though it is a tangible thing." "It is. Rare among my kind, this openness." "Perhaps," Liam said, "that is what makes it worth pursuing." Hours passed unnoticed. The simple supper had turned into a shared exchange of ideas, stories, and laughter. Liam found himself learning as much from Liara as she did from him. She spoke of her people, of their cities grown from living organisms, their culture of harmony with the planet, and the responsibilities of leadership. He listened, fascinated by the depth of thought and the elegance of a society so different from his own. As the moons traced their paths across the sky outside, Liara leaned back and regarded him thoughtfully. "You have shown bravery, yes. But more than that, you have shown patience and respect. Many humans who visit believe themselves superior because of technology or strength, yet you demonstrate a quality that is rare indeed." Liam smiled softly. "And what quality is that?" "The willingness to see, truly see, another being as they are. Not as a conquest, not as a curiosity, but as someone to understand and honor." Her words resonated within him. He had come seeking knowledge, expecting perhaps to find something extraordinary in her world. But he realized that what was extraordinary was the mutual recognition of respect, the bridge they had built through simple acts and honest conversation. "Liara," he said, choosing his words carefully, "would it be too bold to ask if this supper could become a regular occurrence? If I may continue to learn from you, and perhaps share what I can, not as a visitor, but as a companion in understanding?" Liara considered this for a long moment. Then, unexpectedly, she reached across the table and gently touched his hand. The touch was brief, but it conveyed a warmth and acceptance that left Liam breathless. "Yes," she said quietly, her eyes gleaming in the ambient light. "You may join me for supper again. And perhaps, in time, we will learn more than either of us imagines. Liam felt a surge of hope and possibility. The walls between their worlds, though vast, seemed suddenly more navigable. Here, on this distant planet, two beings from entirely different species had discovered a common language of curiosity. Respect and simple human kindness dot as he rose to leave the chamber that evening. Liara walked with him to the threshold. "Captain Liam Ander," she said, her tone carrying a note of amusement, "you have exceeded all expectations of humans. Few would dare to sit across from a princess and share bread without fear. You are different." "I suppose," he replied, "different can be good." She nodded, a smile lighting her face. "Indeed, and perhaps through this difference we will see new paths forward for both our peoples." The stars outsparkled in acknowledgement, as if the universe itself had paused to mark the unusual and promising alliance forming here. Liam stepped back into his vessel, glancing one last time at the palace and its luminous gardens. He knew this was only the beginning, not just of a friendship, but of a larger story, a story where humanity could shine not through dominance, but through courage, respect, and the willingness to reach across boundaries. And as the engines roared to life, carrying him back into the endless night of space, Liam felt a sense of purpose that he had never known. He had come seeking knowledge and found something far richer, the unexpected reaction of a princess who had opened her world to him, and in doing so, had allowed him to touch something that transcended species. Planets and stars. The universe was vast, full of wonders and dangers, but for the first time, Liam believed that human hearts open, curious, and courageous could illuminate Eve